Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Game 2 of LGD versus CDEC Youth. This is Game 2, and LGD is up 1-0. Of course, this is the semifinals of Phase 1 of Summit 5 China qualifiers. The winner of this series will go on and play IG for the final spot of Phase 1. And
that's tomorrow, right?
And that's tomorrow. Yep. Did I miss anything? No, everything is good to go. I did promise that this game will start in less than 5 minutes, and I'm glad we did. So Game 2 on the way. Batrider is the first pick for CDEC, and they also have Respect banned the Phoenix away from September.
So the most interesting thing about the first pick Bat is that Inflame actually plays it more than XE does in this team.
Mm-hmm.
So like normally they'll have him on the safe lane with the Bat, and then they end up picking like an offlane Nature's Prophets or something like more greedy for XE, and obviously Ame will play mid on one of those carry heroes. I'm sure they could play an XE offlane Batrider, and I think I've seen it once or twice, but I've seen Inflame play it many times in the safe lane for his team. So there are like kind of asked questions of LGD, and they respond immediately. Actually, Jai picking the Nyx, which is considered to be a very good hero against Batrider, because you can put on that carapace to stun him immediately. Obviously the mana burn works very well, and you could just also gank there. You can counteract it in the fact that you play similar sort of playmaking roles for your teams.
Yeah, I mean, not as good of an initiator when it comes to like fights around towers or the Roshan pit, but in the jungle, you could argue that Nyx Assassin is fairly decent when it comes to setting up ganks. But yeah, it really reminds me of a kind of an old school counter pick. I think Fluff and Stuff was the player that really, I don't want to say he popularized the counter pick, but he definitely made it work when he was playing the old Team Liquid. And Lion as a secondary follow-up. Nyx Assassin most likely an offlane, but could be played as a greedy 4 as well. And it was back in the day, so we'll see.
It could be either role. I think it is a Jai kind of hero though, so I wouldn't be very surprised at all if he just played it as a offlane AM.
Right.
I still think MMY is, Lion's his hero. So it's probably September 0 that they'll still pick.
So Earth Spirit to me is in a weird spot right now, because you see teams kind of picking him rather highly, like here. And you see teams just ignoring completely. I'm not exactly sure.
10 seconds to go.
To me, he's like more or less like a fringe 5th pick, but his pick order is actually quite high, because by picking Earth Spirit, you don't reveal anything about your strategy, because he's so flexible, right? As a support, he could kind of roam, he could essentially babysit, he could set up kills, he could be ran as an offensive dueling as a support there. So
I don't know. I would argue that Earth Spirit needs to be able to gank. So it gives away that much. Like usually Earth Spirits don't sit on one lane. Like even when you run those aggressive dual lanes, they still roam into the mid. So
yes, but
I kind of agree with you, but I also think you're saying one thing to the other team, like during the lane stage we're gonna have this hero like trying to roll on you in lanes and kill you. Which
but here's the
I don't
thing
know if
though.
that's like
There are very few heroes that, even though you know that the Earth Spirit is coming, like there's few heroes that could deal with it very well. You could say like Puck, Queen of Pain, these heroes are fine, but a good Earth Spirit player is going to be able to find the silence and the stun afterwards. And even Puck and Queen will die in those cases.
I do agree with that. Well, where I think you try to exploit the Earth Spirit pick is more like he won't be a static laner, and so if you pick strong static lanes, you're gonna have a numbers advantage most of the time, and then it's just about like whenever the Earth Spirit comes in, deal with that threat. And if you do, you're winning that kind of static laning situation. But they actually, the route that they take here is they just pick the Enchantress, which is like a similar thought process. It's like the Earth Spirit's not going to be statically laning, so we can have a hero that's not statically laning. And in fact, ours is jungling, so it gets more passive value. So this actually, if one team is an Enchantress, the other team is an Earth Spirit, the pressure's on the Earth Spirit to be successful in ganks. Because if neither of them is successful in ganks, the Enchantress is obviously accruing much more value.
At least when it comes to the economy game. You can make the argument in the game that probably the stun and silences and the AoE damages may be a little bit more helpful than Enchantress. But for now, we are kind of closing in our second phase pick here. Essentially, Nyx Assassin is like forced into the offlane role now. Xiaohui's going to be playing that. Well, I mean, technically he could play Enchantress, but like we pointed out earlier, he's generally playing the initiator role, and Nyx Assassin definitely fits the bill.
Yeah, and Jug is actually a really good safe lane against either of those as offlaners. Like, you can't. None of the ways that Enchantress or Nyx survive in lane work against Spin. So, it's a nice pick from CDC Youth, I think.
Yeah. Another one of kind of the premier carry hero of this patch, Gyrocopter, being taken up here for LGD.
Yeah, it's interesting because typically people think Juggernaut matches up quite well against Gyrocopter. Like, very difficult for Gyrocopter to fight into Omni Slash.
Yeah, I agree with that point as well. So
Yes,
far,
LGD just aren't afraid.
yeah. So far, I like CDC's draft much more. They have a kind of. I mean, you talked about the point of Enchantress versus Earth Spirit, and on that, I'm definitely more on the Enchantress side. But just the initiation with Bat and the immediate follow up of Omni Slash most likely guarantees you a 5v4, and that's just generally the spot you want to be in. Io as a pickup. Okay.
Yeah. So that's an interesting. I mean, they had the IO last game, although it was first pick, right? So it's slightly
Second, I
different.
think. Line Io
So,
was the
yeah.
the follow up.
First phase, yeah. Do you? I mean, what do you think of the IO last game? Like, did it? What was the job of the IO? Was it? Did they pick it to help the Queen of Pain win the mid lane at the start? Were they planning to use it for relocate gank? Because I feel like the game went so badly for them. We don't really know what the purpose of the IO pick was. What?
I mean, generally that's the question I end up asking myself every time I see the Chinese teams picking it. It just feels like they haven't really been able to execute it on the same level as the Europeans or the American teams have. So,
Yeah.
like, oftentimes I just feel
I mean,
like
it's
you're better off picking a different support. But
yeah, it's. Even it goes even further than that. So recently in Epicenter, there are a lot of teams running the IO Bristleback combo, and I don't think any of them perform that combo as well as MVP do, the
Right.
Koreans. So it's kind of like, I feel like for each IO combination you can pick, you need to actually be good at that combination, not just like have an IO player and have a Jug player or something. You know, you need to be good at executing the combination. So I mean, in this game it's pretty straightforward, right? Bat's gonna catch someone, they can relocate in, so they've got a serious threat. Depending on, you know, this doesn't look like an IO that's picked for sustain. It doesn't look like he's
Oh.
just there to
you have the healing
make
ward.
someone. Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's that combination, but
I mean, it's not exactly like game breaking or anything, but it's a little bit. Of
I definitely don't think last game was a game that showcases like why IO is a top pick, though.
And I don't think this game will showcase it either. I mean, it's if the gank's successful, it's not going to be because of IO. It's probably because of Batrider, you know, doing stuff well.
Yep. I think that's definitely a possibility. So it's an interesting route to take.
Yeah. Also, when you
just think,
when you pick IO, like you put more pressure on the rest of your 4 heroes because IO just does no damage, right? Clinks as a follow-up. This makes even less sense because generally when you pick IO, you're essentially buffering, you know, somebody that has relatively low attack speed to give them more right clicks and whatnot. But
yeah, the IO's partner's got to still be the Jug, I think,
Yeah.
and I feel like again, Clinks is supposed to be a hero that's very good against Gyrocopter. It's considered like I've heard a lot of players say it's a counter. So it's just the way the carry matches up. Like same way Gyro can't deal with being Omni Slashed, he also can't deal with like Clinks finds him on his own and just turns on strafe and bursts him down. Gyro can't win that fight. By the time you get close to him to turn on your Rocket Barrage, you're already on like half HP or less. So
but
they've
here's the
got
thing though,
tools-
is Gyro gonna be the one that's gonna be alone, or is I feel like past the 15-minute mark, LGD is gonna be grouping up and playing the same style that they played last game.
So is this the explanation then for the IO pick, right? Which is that
Wind Ranger at your service.
CDC Youth's draft is kind of weak against grouping up. But if you have the IO, it helps you to sort of split push around the map and still take the fights when you need to. Is that the thinking? It
Yeah.
might be, I think.
I also think that Clinks fills that capacity very well as well. Like, you have another core that could split push or just disappear from the map and start finding ganks. So, they're definitely not
So-
looking to fight them heads up.
Yeah, because that was the problem we saw last game, is that CDC Youth were trapped. They could only get any advantage of the game through fighting. And this game they've got tools to fight, but maybe less reliant on fighting. And I think that's an important difference. And maybe that is why we see the IO coming up again, because I think it's quite a useful tool in that regard.
Yeah. Well, Xiao is going to be playing the Nyx Assassin. I'm definitely looking forward to this one, to see how well he's going to be able to handle his lane, whether he's going to find the ganks, and more importantly, whether it'll counter the Batrider like he has imagined it to. Because, I mean, you need to get to a blink if you want to counter the
man.
Batrider.
I thought you were gonna say you're looking forward to seeing if he hits stuns. I mean, going with the like, this is a skill shot hero, and
I mean,
I was saying last game, like Shite had an immaculate performance last game, but it's a talking point that if there is a weakness in this player, it's his mechanical skill, and there's a way that that can come up as a Nyx assassin more often than not if you can't
Yeah.
hit those stuns straight up.
this is definitely a little bit harder of a hero to play compared to the Slaughter. But, I mean, half the time he's probably hitting it after Impale from Lion or Hex, so he's going to look to MMY and be like, hey, man, set me up. And then he's going to...
It's going to be in Flame on the safe lane Batrider this time,
Okay.
and Army is going to be playing mid Klinks, which it's not that common to see the mid Klinks. What this also means, very interestingly, is that it's the XZ Juggernaut who started with the Iron Talon. It's going to be mostly jungling, actually, with this hero. So these are some, like, Southeast Asia strats. I mean, I watched a lot of Southeast Asia Dota, and Klinks mid is a TNC thing, so is, like, jungling Juggernaut. And you know what, why not? MVP went to the Shanghai Major, they did really well. They said they learned things from the Filipino strategies, and maybe Chinese teams need to start doing it more as well.
The Chinese team definitely have a level of pride, though. They always think, you know, have a sense of, like, we're the best, or we're very good. Let's do our own thing. Mid lane, looks like we're going to see a little bit of rolling for the rune spot. 2-man Impale. They're going to go in. Oh, nobody took the rune yet. In fact, it's going to go the other way. The spin doing a ton of damage. First blood goes to Juggernaut. I don't think they'll lose anybody in return as well. Ame snatches the rune. You know, that's a way to start a game here for CDEC.
Yeah, the interesting thing there is that it's actually quite rare. If you look at the popular offlaners at the moment, usually the offlaner doesn't present that much of a threat at the early rune fight. And you run this like unusual offlane Juggernaut, and that's one thing it definitely does bring to the party. At level 1, it's the strongest hero in that entire fight, and I think maybe LGD underestimating that.
Alright, this definitely takes me back to DK days where Ice played the roaming Juggernaut, offlane Juggernaut. Didn't have Iron Tail on then, and well, now he could, you know, go to the jungle. I wonder if he's actually gonna get a bottle and just like,
His spin deals so little to these centaurs now because of that stacking cloak aura.
you can make the argument that he would have done more by focusing down one of the smaller ones first and then spun, but he probably would have died by then. Bottom lane Xiaowei having a lot of trouble, though the mana burn though will help him kind of take away Inflame's mana.
But it's kind of like, so this is the clever thinking. So I was talking about how Enchantress
Oh,
passively
mid lane
gets-
here,
oh,
maybe gets rolled in, cancels himself. Unfortunately, though, he pops the wind run and just feeds a kill to maybe Demons. Had a good
nearly
idea.
2
and,
kills.
and almost kills Am. Oh, I'm thinking about going back in.
There's another power shot coming soon. I wonder if he's gonna go for the snipe. Yeah, here we go. Oh, and he misses.
TP's
But
in.
you know, I was
He's
talking in
gonna
the
roll
draft about how,
Okay.
never get a chance to speak about this while they're.
Yeah, sorry. He still had a fair fire. He was fine. But yeah.
There's a.
Oh,
I was talking in the draft about how Enchantress and Earthspirit both pressure lanes by ganking, but the Enchantress gets more value passively.
Mhm.
It's actually a similar story in the opposite direction if you look at the offlaners, right? The Juggernauts could be rotating, so could the Nyx, but the Juggernauts is going to be able to just farm with Iron Talon, whereas Nyx can't really do that very effectively. So I guess those things kind of balance each other out in terms of the early value.
I don't think Nyx is looking to farm regardless, right? All he wants is level 6. I think he's more like... The resource that he cares more is the experience, whereas Juggernaut arguably cares about more. Like, cares about both. So, yeah, sure, XE can farm, but he'd probably do less with the farm early on as well. Like, what difference does it make if XZ farms, you know, 300 more gold than the Nyx? Nyx, you
Well,
know...
I mean, the difference it makes is just that, like, if the game gets to like uncertain phase in the mid game,
Sure, the
team that has
Juggernaut
an economic
emerges
lead,
as
you
a
know,
carry. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, if things go according to the director's plan, then you're right. It won't come up. It won't even matter. It'll actually look weird. Why do you have an offlane Juggernaut? Usually your offlaner's got control. At the same time, because you have a safe lane Bat, you can afford to have an offlaner that's going to convert into a carry.
Uh-oh, we're gonna make a go here against Xiaowei. He does not have Spike Carapace available. He's kind of just burning under the fire. Does have 7 Magic Stick and pops the Impale. Maybe should have done it a little bit earlier. Tower focusing on the Batrider. Here comes the Enchantress. Don't think he'll have vision to actually get this kill or the movement speed to back it up as Tether brings Inflames back out. So, pretty good kill as you're trying to reconnect for frame issues, I imagine.
Yep. pretty much permanent frame issues at the moment in this game for me. As I connected, I saw that maybe was nearly going down again, but seems to have been very successful so far this game at sneaking away with small shreds of HP.
So the skill build that Xiao went for, it was 2-1 at level 3. I think if he went 1-1-1, he would have survived. I don't really see the value of getting the second point Impale because you're probably not going to get a kill on anybody. But the first point in Spike is, you know, the biggest value point, right? You're going to survive a gank because of it. 4-man gank on the bottom lane against Xiao 8. Well, no. Yes? What's happening? Are they going to actually... Okay, there's a stun, and the spin should be able to get the kill. I say that, though. They need a little bit of tether help. No. That was a big rotation, and it got nothing.
Yeah, Demons misses the roll, so... You know what's funny? This style is, like, reminding me of Wings, which is, like, a weird... Normally it's like... you don't hear people comparing teams to Wings, but even before they won ESL, Wings did this thing. I cast a few games where they would, like, have their off-laner just play as a support from the beginning of the game. Like, constantly roaming on the map.
And then just goes back to farm and become a carry position afterwards.
Yeah, except they were, I mean, they were very successful with those rotations, whereas we have seen the Juggernauts miss out on a rotation there. I mean, it's not a huge deal, but...
Yeah. I mean, to me, Juggernaut's a hero that can kind of catch up quite fast. If you're not being directly compared to the enemy core, right? Because you could just find a pretty big wave or stack and just spin it, and you'll be fine. And he actually could do a lot for the team just by, you know, popping down a healing ward, so...
I just wanted to point out there's something that'll interest you on the mid lane, if you look at Windrange's inventory.
Blightstone.
Yeah, that's...
I mean, with the Blightstone, he hits almost as hard as Ame, right? Not really.
Yeah.
Ame still
I mean,
hits harder.
it's yeah, sure, but it's very interesting, because I think this is the first time I've seen it on a hero in the mid lane. I've seen it on safe laners.
Xiao in a lot of trouble here. The creeps are coming in, and so does Lion Impale with a hit. In fact, they're not going to turn against Victoria. Impale cooling down in a couple of seconds. He has mana point available as well. I hear the row going to somewhere. In fact, it's a row away into a tether. All of them are dropping relatively low. Still looking for the Impale mana, but just too short. And the CDC will recover. So it draws a couple of TP, not too bad.
I would have liked to see like a little bit more early impact from this Enchantress this game. I mean, early on we were ranking the Enchantress's early impact, and I think this is again like another kind of 4 out of 10. And this is something that Fnatic does really well.
Worse. It's like a 3 out
Maybe
of 10.
even worse, yeah. Maybe like 2 or 3 out of 10. It's like when you have an offlane Nyx, it's really easy. It's something I've seen Fnatic do many times with DJ and Ohio. The Enchantress will just send a creep right at the beginning, and it like the first creep ends with the offlaner, and it's really really strong. Like it's a setup where you really can get a lot of value out of it. So on that basis, I feel like, you know, that they actually sent the Enchantress to sit in the safe lane and get value now. It's almost like catch up, which is really not a great sign of what she's gotten done in the early game.
If your Enchantress needs to go lane to catch up, you're not in the best place. XZ don't have really mana for spin, so all the CDEC heroes just watching September farm, and they can't really do anything about it. There's like absolutely no way they could get this kill.
Demons has a Windlace, by the way. That's interesting. We usually see the Orb of Venom on the Earth Spirit.
Okay.
Opting for a small, you know, half boot move speed.
And I think Windlace is probably a good choice this game because he's probably buying more of the wards. Victoria has a bottle, has a magic stick. It's the rich one here. Demon's still kind of roaming around, but I feel like the supports are just essentially wasting the time, not really accomplishing too much.
Yeah, the game has reached a pretty awkward stage where, like, I think all of the supports on both sides are not really accomplishing that much right now.
Yeah.
But they're trying to catch up. Or top lane Enchantress almost gets burst down, doesn't quite. Jaya TP'd in and Vendetta immediately. Let's see if there's anything he can do here. I don't think there is.
No. Another kind of wasted opportunity. The first Vendetta is rather expensive. Sentry Ward is going to actually pick up on Xiaowei. He notices and immediately turns around. Oh, there's only really one spot. Alright, Impale missed.
Yep.
I'm counting.
Gotta keep count.
Yeah. Lion goes for the rune. Might not be good for him. That's a roll. That's going to be hitting. Stun's going to follow up. There's immediate spin. Don't want to get impaled. And XZ is on a killing spree. So despite the fact that he's got 22 last hit in 8 minutes, he's got 3 kills. More than this Nyx.
Yeah. MMY, like, super close to level 6, and halfway to Blink Dagger, he saw Bounty and he was like, "Wow, I gotta get that stuff." It's like so appealing when you're lying in that position. But yeah, ultimately wasn't what he had hoped for. Top lane, Xiao does hit an Impale, but now he's got nothing and he's gonna be chased down.
Oh, no spin though. So, all right.
No bottle charges on the IO, otherwise could have easily just used one, set up a spin, easy kill.
So I think, although it looks kind of weird that the Nyx Assassin is essentially just like going from lane to lane to lane just to farm. Like he's not even ganking. It looks odd because traditionally he's played as a ganker, but I think in this game, uniquely he has a role to get to blink. Because he's supposed to be the Bat Rider counter. When the Bat blinks in, he needs to blink on the fire and spike, essentially to turn the gank around.
Or demons, he's gonna get quartz. I mean, this should be a kill. It's the first rotation from the gyrocopter, but later than it was in the previous game. This time he spent some time farming the jungle first.
Yeah. The openings were not there. It's also harder to gank a team that has a Klings involved. Nyx Assassin kind of looking to backstab here. Does find Victoria in the back. Comes up, does hit the Impale this time. Should be able to get the kill, sets up the power shot. Maybe does get a killing spree as well. I do imagine they could start mow down this tier 1 tower.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, I've been talking about how Chinese bats have been going for drum a lot recently. Something I've also seen once or twice, but Inflamed this game, he starts the arcane boots. Later on he'll make it into either lens, and he's pretty close to his Blink Dagger.
Yeah, I think Arcane Boots gotten as a reason. One of the reason is against the Nyx Assassin that's constantly mana burning him in lane, so you could also farm much more aggressively in the jungle, just like non-stop using spam napalms and fireflies and whatnot. Normally you run out of mana quite quickly on Bat Rider.
So right now I think the biggest difference in this game between the teams is actually just that LGD's supports are much higher level than CDC Youth supports. The IO just bought the tome and still didn't get to level 6, so Earth Spirit's only level 4. Lion and Enchantress both comfortably at level 6, and we haven't seen the first usage of the Finger of Death either, which at this stage in the game with such under-leveled enemy supports, MMY's Finger is probably going to make a kill.
Oh yeah, especially if it's on the IO. It's almost guaranteed as a kill. Bat Rider in the jungle looking for a gank. They're pushing the wave on the mid lane as well, so this should be a fairly easy setup. If Xiaoyu breaks out of Invis or hit this creep, on the bottom, on the right side here, they're gonna go for MMY. MMY is gonna get bursted down. Here comes the Nyx Assassin going against Victoria. He does get the counter kill. Teleportations are coming in. Ame dropping low. Shackle shot not gonna last her, and it looks like Xiaoyu got grabbed. Not sure if they have enough damage. Klings is actually laying in against Xiaoyu. He's gonna barely survive on the left side. They're chasing against, I believe, I can't exactly tell who's actually being chased. It's gonna be a demons. He goes to the left, and it's gonna be dead.
The Juggernaut Omni slash the Wind Ranger, and then Shield's running away.
The slideshow is just difficult. Also, it's a Blink Dagger first one, maybe.
Yeah, which is also interesting. I mean, emphasis on early shackles, on early fights, and interesting that LGD like completely expected the gank. I don't know if you saw that, but MMY drew on the map where they all were right before they came down and initiated on him. He like squiggled a bit on this high ground, so maybe he didn't know there were that many people, but they were clearly ready for that fight, or not ready for this one though. And MMY will die this time, and still not being able to use his Finger of Death. So unfortunate for him. The good thing is that his gold is still going up. He's getting closer and closer to Blink Dagger early on in this line.
Nyx Assassin just skirting around that sentry ward. He's so close to it. Comes out against Victoria. Impale will hit. He does blow him up again. The spike's gonna stun up a couple of people, and looks like that's gonna be it. Meanwhile, maybe blinks in looking for a shackle, not gonna hit. If it goes really bad and doesn't fix itself, I might have to reconsider reconnecting, but can't really seem to find a time as CDC heroes are coming in.
This
on the left side here.
Got his ult.
Yeah, the spike's gonna come through. Xiaoyu silence up. Shackle shot is gonna latch two heroes together, maybe dropping the focus fire onto Inflame. Looks like they are gonna get the kill. Yes, they are. Call down's gonna come in as well here, doing a ton of damage. Is aggressive. They're looking to chase down XZ. He's dropping low. Meanwhile, her finger on the left. It's gonna be a big bursty kill on the core nonetheless. So
this that could have been scripted. I mean, we talked about it so much. The Nyx counter to Bat Rider, and Carapace sets up for the Impale. Bat Rider's ulti doesn't do anything. Bat gets controlled. Bat didn't even get his ulti off. I mean, it was Carapace, Impale, Shackle Shot, and all of a sudden he's just totally locked down. And I wonder, is this like, do you think that because of Blightstone, it's easier to justify first item Blink on Wind Ranger because you've got like this cheap addition to your damage, so you can actually like make those kills where you just need to use the Blink Capture Shackle and you got enough damage already.
I wonder on average against like a 10 armor hero, like how much does Blightstone actually give you, like as a raw plus damage item.
Yeah, it would be really interesting to just check. I mean, I'm interested specifically in Wind Ranger.
Yeah.
If you catch a level 3 Shackle on someone, you ulti them for that duration, how much more are you dealing now that you have a Blightstone than before when you didn't?
Yeah, sounds like I could get into a lobby and check that one out. Double Blink Dagger coming out from LGD. And here comes CDEC. Oh, they're gonna find himself an Enchantress. Not sure exactly if that's the kill you want. And I do believe that Nyx Assassin is thinking about coming in.
Yeah, it's a kill they'll accept. It wasn't
Right.
the kill they were hoping to find, but
I do
They'll
want to
take it.
ask you, Scans, before I mess this up. When I go out to reconnect to the game, do I hit disconnect first? Or no, do I not hit disconnect? Because I do not want to be not
yeah,
shown.
you disconnect and then you reconnect. Just don't, after you disconnect, don't press the leave game button.
Alright. If I disconnect and I can't find the game,
No, it'll be fine as long as you don't click twice on like disconnect/leave.
alright, the amount of Calais is unreal, so...
I actually just use the console. You can like open your console and type disconnect.
Alright, well,
But yeah, it fixed it for me, or every now, like if I reconnect enough times, eventually it fixes it. I don't know if you'll have to do it multiple times.
I mean, there's a smoke gank coming, so... I guess let's watch half that smoke gank, and then I'll do it again. I mean, do you find it, if you type in the console, it has a higher success rate?
No, I doubt that makes a difference. That's just like, for me, it's quicker to do it by typing in the console. Because I just like open console, press the up arrow, and it's already there.
Alright. I'm gonna try one more time. Well, hold that thought. Mid lane looks like Winnie's finding a gank. Xiao 8 gonna invis himself and get himself out of there. Alright, let's
It's
do it one more
interesting to
time.
see how common the Dragon Lance rush has become on Klinks. Because it was... People used to like getting Medallion. Long ago there was the Orchid build. Recently we've seen Rush Desolator, but it seems like it's becoming the standard build to get the Soul Ring and the Dragon Lance and only then get the Desolator.
I wonder if the
although with
ad-
this Ogre Club, you could rush a BKB in this game, I guess.
Yeah, I wonder if the added HP of the Ogre Club makes it much more appealing, because
But
in conjunction
does
with
Klinks
the...
really... Do you need that with your ulti? Like, aren't you tank enough?
I mean, doesn't hurt to
Oh.
get tankier, right? Oh, they want to drag him to the low ground and then get an Omni Slash off. Meanwhile, Calldown's going to come through against somebody. Omni Slash is going to fly in against MMY. I literally cannot watch this. On the ball.
Klinks has gone down. Enchantress on the other side. Now Juggernaut's going to die to the Gyrocopter. And IO is probably in trouble. This is going really well for LGD. Yeah, they're going to get the bat too.
Well, Earthsphere is trying to do whatever he can, but might not be enough. He's dropping people relatively low. Okay, they're all pretty low.
He almost got lots of kills and then didn't.
Yeah.
That's too bad because that's one of those situations where if they all die, the fight's actually kind of even. But because they all live, it's quite a huge fight for LGD.
Alright, this gives me more time to reconnect.
Yeah. Meantime, Lion has got Blink up, so that's the core item. Enchantress actually is much less farmed than Lion. This is kind of unusual. Usually the Enchantress is like the 4 position. Obviously the Lion's farm is more important in this game. It's more just how poor the Enchantress is. I don't know if I've seen September play this hero before. I'm sure he has. I know his Phoenix is fantastic, but it got banned in the first phase of this game, so... But he really hasn't managed to get much on this hero. I guess he was probably buying all the wards while Lion was farming for Blink.
Yeah, that's definitely it, right? Because one thing that you pointed out was how Lion's gold wasn't going down, despite the fact that he's been dying like once or twice. Enchantress picking
Yeah,
up
so-
really the slack when it comes to detection and whatnot.
It's kind of cool. I'll probably give Zayed credit for that. It's quite rare for teams to do that. I think it takes the captain's call to say, hey, let's
This game
adjust
we-
what we normally do. Yeah, this game Enchantress, you just buy wards.
So far, I've been fairly impressed with the Nyx from Xiao 8. Able to really find the initiation and backstab and whatnot.
Yeah. Both of these games he's been great. I mean, he missed one Impale this game. We're not gonna like get on his nerves for that. Everyone misses Impales sometimes. I think he's been the most standout player in the team in both these games, which is pretty incredible if he's meant to be like the mechanically weakest one.
Alright, there's a Roche happening. Nobody's gonna contest. I'm gonna reconnect again. This is like my 5th reconnect. Literally, it does not help. But eventually, right?
Well, good luck. Perfect world, YOLO. It's gonna be a rush contest, so you better try to get in as soon as you can. They're coming into fight.
Radio cast, go.
Well, the fight hasn't started yet. Okay, Lion blinks and captures Juggernaut before he can run in. He's been hexed and stunned and fingered, and Juggernaut dies without casting any spells at all. Gyrocopter gets the cooldown off, and that's 2 more kills than the Earth Spirit and Naya. And I think that CDC Youth kind of came to contest Rush, but they didn't have any idea of like who's nearby. They don't have any vision. They just don't have that information. And then the Rush dies, and suddenly they get caught out. It's a really nice jump from MMY. And this game is starting to look very much like the previous game now. Earlier on, it wasn't like that, but it's starting to become the LGD show for sure.
This game definitely not looking like the last game. Last game didn't lag as much. But LGD looks like it's going to be a 2-0. Forstaff's going to get picked up here by the Batrider, but not exactly sure how Forstaff's going to help against Fire.
So
or Spike.
we were talking about the Wind Ranger going Blightstone Blink, but he actually uses the Blightstone, finishes the Desolator. So is this like...
So this is more
I
like,
have
hey,
not seen this.
I'm going to go for a Deso anyway, so let me get the Blightstone. This is not a true value Blightstone. I'm
It
disappointed.
could be. Like, that's... I'm not sure. But,
Yeah.
but like... Deso Wind Ranger is really not that common at the moment, so I'm not sure. Like, maybe the Blightstone is part of the thinking. It's like a natural extension. It's very cheap. Desolator is a super cheap DPS item. It's very
Yeah, but
efficient. And
on on Wind Ranger is not that great, like you said. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I like the Blightstone idea. I want to do the math behind it, but I'm not behind this Deso. Maybe they're looking to remove these tier 2s and having the extra minus armor is nice.
Yeah, I mean, it is something that's come up a lot recently. Like, we're talking, I think, in the previous match about a team that wants to force team fights. It was Newbie Young, I think, and they didn't have anything to push. And a lot of lineups struggle to push these days, even if their heroes are not that bad at hitting, just because the towers are stronger, there's more armor. So
I mean-
I think there's more. Oh, he catches the Jug again.
Yeah, the Hex is following there as well. Relocate. Okay. Where was the finger, MY? No finger. Meanwhile, it looks like on the bottom. Fight is happening there as well. Xiao is going to get grabbed. Xiao is going to be fine, I think. Yule Scepter defensively being used. Now he can turn things around with the fire. Yep, spiking the fire, inflaming, a little bit of trouble. Demon jumping on the left. I'm not sure whether he's hitting his impales or not, so I can't even rag him for that because
He hits.
Perfect World's happening. He hits, apparently.
He hit,
Batrider.
but they were going on 2 heroes at once. LGD could easily have killed either the Earth Spirit or the Batrider, but they used half their spells literally on each and didn't kill either.
Oh, that is unfortunate for them, but I don't think they need those hero kills that they're leading by quite a bit.
Someone's gonna get scolded by Director 8 because I'm sure he was calling one of the heroes and people were going on the other one.
Well, it could also be the one that, you know, the one that he called on was a mistake call, right? So,
Yeah, I know. I assume the dynamic in the team would be like the one that he was calling was the one that they'll decide was right.
the director is
Or-
always correct.
Yeah.
Well, we
Really,
just,
Manta Star is also not very popular on Gyrocopter. I think this might be a build. I mean, Aggressive is like the foremost gyro player in the world right now, I want to say. So we got to take it seriously. And I mean, you know, is it just to take off Earth Spirit's side? That feels. I almost feel like this is a response to the SNY nerfs. Do you remember we talked about that? Like SNY on ranged here is just not as good anymore.
I still think, I mean, there are discussions where Dust Flies Out doesn't get anybody. There were discussions where Hurricane Pike as a replacement because of the stat it gives. But on a similar count, Manta Style is always there, right? The thing is, Manta Style just gives you so little damage. So,
Yeah. It's a good stat build up, similar to SNY in that sense. It's more expensive, but it also gives you utility. It also, as we were talking about Desolator Wind Ranger, like Manta is also a better pushing item than SNY. Actually, interestingly, I don't know if you saw, but in one of the Epicenter games earlier, Howl was playing Gyro and he went back late game for a Bloodthorn.
okay.
like instead of having an MKB, I believe it was, just so that he could like kill Butterfly heroes, he'd just Bloodthorn them, and
I mean, Bloodthorn
a-
definitely gives you way more damage.
yeah,
than,
so
MKB would.
it's just super interesting because I don't think anyone before that game had discussed it as like a potential item for a super farmed carry. You know, he was like 6 slotted, and he had Bloodthorn on Gyro.
Yeah, seems good to me. Because it's not just about the crits and the silence. It's the soul burn at the end game deals a ton of damage.
And it's shorter cooldown, and the true strike's really nice. Maybe we'll see more of that and other carry heroes.
Vendetta happening right now here. Xiaowei is gonna hit himself a stun. Looks like they do get the kill. Row in from Demon. Omnisat's gonna come out. Yul Septo though keeping himself alive. Meanwhile, there's a drag against maybe on the left side. Looks like he's gonna die as a result. On the right though, XZ doing even more damage, but aggressive in the fight and is able to burn down pretty much everybody. Line drops a finger of death. Ame's gonna go down as well. The dust finds him, but the BKB keeps them alive for now. 2 for 2 exchange. I mean, decent trade for a CDEC actually.
Yep, it's a win for them for the position that they were in.
Yeah.
I think it's mostly because maybe managed to get caught out and like focused down. It's I guess one of the dangers of going blink early on Wind Ranger. If you blink into a position where they can burst you, you're that much less survivable. If you had been rushing the Ags, for example, you'd have more stats. You might not get into that position. He's gonna actually have an Ag soon, in addition to the blink and the Desolator though. And I think we are at the point where, I mean, Klinks did rush a BKB by the way, which is not something that Klinks ever. I don't think there's a game where at the start of the game Klinks plans to rush BKB. Put it that way.
No.
I feel like
That
it's
is
always a sign that the game's not
Fancy
working.
item choice. It's like we're losing. I need to get
Yeah.
a game losing BKB.
So it's a good fight for them, but all the signs suggest that LGD are still in pretty firm command, and it would take a few more fights for them to fall behind. Well, maybe it's getting caught out again. So, all right, this is what I'm talking about. They need a few more fights, but maybe they're getting it. So aggressive comes in and he's got the cooldown. They turn around on XZ. Demons rolls in, but I think he's just the one who dies next as a result. I guess he distracted them. So that's a fight win for LGD, even though it's still a loss for Maybe, and it's pretty bad that he's died twice in a row. Aggressive also the one with the godlike streak, so he needs to be careful not to throw that away. But I think he's got.
He's
Does
got
he
massive
have a whole
BKB,
BKB?
right?
Yeah. It's,
So I don't think he's dying anytime soon. Sorry, I'm just letting you cast the play-by-play for now because I'm just
Yeah, I
disconnecting
understand.
and reconnecting nonstop.
do you think, are you at the point where you'd say aggressive won't die again this game, or
No,
not ready to say
not
that?
yet, not yet. Because you have a Klinks on the other side. Like if he's caught out by a stun, then he could easily die if his team is not available to bail him out.
That's another thing about the Mansa, by the way. I actually, maybe this is the main reason he buys the Mansa this game. Jug's really good against Gyro, but if you have the Mansa, suddenly you can't just like go Omni slash the Gyro.
That's definitely true. All right, guys, I think this might be it. I feel like it's quite
Oh,
smooth.
King's Court. He's dead.
Oh my god, I actually see spells. They're kind of late though. We'll see.
I mean, there's only so much you can control about Perfect World causing lag when you're watching.
Oh, you sure it's not me just purposely lagging the game?
Actually, I'm not. Yeah, that's a good point. Are you? Is it you?
Yeah, I'm just pushing buttons. I'm purposely making the game unwatchable.
Well, in that case, I think you deserve an angry Reddit thread.
Okay.
Is it? What is this creep? Do you see this like potato in the bottom right? It's just like standing here.
Is that a poorly micro enchantress screen?
I think it is. Yeah.
Why do you call it a potato? It's not even. It
I don't-
doesn't
there
even
was-
look like a potato.
There's some. It's like common. I don't know. There's some video where they call them potatoes and tomatoes.
Oh, I see. Uh oh,
It's-
call down. Not gonna hit. Was that a defensive relocate? However, Demons is gonna roll, and he's gonna be fine. They'll find himself. No! Is he gonna impel? No, he's fine. They're gonna find himself a wisp though. How come
Yeah.
people don't try that TP trick with IO anymore?
They do sometimes. There was a big one recently. Do you remember? I think it was EGM.
EGM that did it, yeah. And
Yeah,
now that
so-
you know, TP is only 50 gold, so it's
So
always
you might
worth
as well
a
just
try.
try.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it? I think I agree with that.
Because you're probably gonna lose
Okay.
that 50 gold if you don't spend it on a TP regardless, right? The
Do
unreliable.
you think it's a pride thing? It's like if you try to do it and you failed, you just like feel embarrassed.
No. To me, it's like zero risk, high rewards kind of thing. All right, Xiao's actually playing like a baller right now. Oh, BKB turns around. The BKB man fight. BKB against Searing Arrow. And the Manta style not gonna get the job done, but looks like Windrunner cleaning up on the bottom, on the backside. Inflame's gonna get burned out. Drops a gem. All right,
Incredibly,
now,
though, Klink's actually escaped on like a sliver of HP for the second time in a row.
now I'm gonna say that Aggressive is not gonna die for the rest of the game. I think it's safe enough to make that call now.
Okay. Do I agree? Mm,
I mean, there's a world where he
Yes.
gets lassoed and just dragged in, but the fact that
why does Juggernaut have Blade Mail?
Blade Mail is a good item, got buffed. Didn't you read the
Just-
patch notes?
Is that like another like the Klink's BKB? We just needed an item to fight slightly better right
I mean, he's
now
actually quite good
because-
against Gyrocopter, right?
Yeah. No, it is gonna do something. It's just like, again, what do you
think-
think that's his build? Is this his jug build?
No, this is
Based
not
around
his
the
jug
Blade
build.
Mail?
It's more like, hey, we're losing right now. We need to buy an item for 2k that has the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And for
Okay,
Juggernaut,
that makes
that's-
sense.
I mean, you can make an argument that Blink probably has a bigger impact. Because honestly, I don't know how much damage he's reflecting. Whereas if you could precisely go on somebody with like a line on the Omni Slash, you'll do more. But
Well,
I don't know.
LGD are getting another rush, and you'd expect that this is the rush that kind of ends the game. Like with this Aegis, they just go push another side of racks. But yeah, I completely agree actually. As far as it's funny, I'm like decide to bring up the controversial point because apparently right now everyone's in love with Jai, so I decided to bring up the point that yeah, he has been criticized for something in the past, but he's been perfect.
He's actually
in this
playing
series.
really well. Like
Yeah,
mechanically.
he's been so good.
Oh, XZ, Blink. Are we gonna see some perfect chain stuns? Defensive relocate's gonna. Oh, Shao 8! My God, it didn't work. They didn't get the kill, right? But I mean, you saw that, right? That was the play. Using the
Yeah.
Yules to prevent the relocate from coming out. All right, we gotta take back all the. I mean, he did miss one impale, but I mean,
He
Yeah,
missed
what
an
a-
impale.
what a
But
player.
I mean, he's been playing like the 8K god that he now apparently is.
I'm glad I caught that on camera. I know like the freaking frame rates has been terrible this game and everything. But all right, here comes the lasso. Dragging maybe in, maybe he's got the Aegis.
He's got
He doesn't
Aegis.
even care. Yeah, he's fine. And here comes the gyrocopter, and here comes the frame drop. BK beats a pop. There's somebody spinning. Call down's gonna get missed on everybody. Omni Slash coming in, but the Mana Style doing work here. XC's gonna die as a result. Looks like there's a Shaco Shot coming in. Here comes the Ember Spirit, dropping a lot of damage. Impale's gonna hit, and they do burst him down very quickly on the backside. They're chasing him in the fountain. They force the GG. LGD looking really, really strong on the
I just
back.
want to say, I really like the way that Aggressive used his cooldown there. Like he waited really long, and because he kept waiting, CDC kept like trying to not punch for it. Eventually he uses it, and they split up, and it like the fight was just such that CDC were like all kind of pulled to different directions and couldn't actually take the fight. So even though the cooldown hits nobody, it like has the desired effect of winning the fight.
Alright, we are officially done today. LGD takes the series 2-0, and so does Invictus Gaming. That means these two teams will match up against each other tomorrow. The time will be at, let's see, I could rattle them off. It's 2 a.m. PDT, 5 a.m. EDT, 1700 SGT, and 1100 CEST. So basically, the time of our first series of today. IG versus LGD. That's a pretty classic kind of final, at least.
Yeah.
We're not even at the finals, but you know, final of phase 1.
It's TI2, man. I mean, TI2, LGD were actually the top Chinese team.
Yeah.
Like, coming into the tournament, throughout the tournament. Then IG actually won the tournament, so it goes really long way back. And these teams have a long history of matches against each other. I think it's something I could probably go check if Data is working again now. But they, in terms of like organizations with head-to-heads, they probably have one of the highest records of two organizations that have gone against each other, like number of games over time.
I would not. Oh, I'm sure eHome. Maybe eHome versus LGD is higher because eHome's been around for such a long time.
I think that IG LGD and Empire Navi are the two biggest ones. I remember like there was Knoxville and I were talking about this about 6 months ago, and I think those are the two big ones at this stage.
All right, fair enough. All right, we got nothing more today. We are done. Join us back tomorrow. But until then, this is Beyond the Summit, Luminous, as well as Scansource. We are signing off. Thanks for watching, guys. Good night.